Layoffs continue. Market seems to like it. Jenny Horn with a couple of the latest stories. Host of Next Gen Investing. Twilio and Meta, I guess, are the leaders on this front today, Jenny.
Yeah, and I think the Twilio story is a little bit more interesting, Oliver, because this is their second round of layoffs since September. They did announce laying off about 17% of their overall workforce today. That follows an 11% cut just a few months back. So I think that's meaningful. We've been talking a lot about how these companies were operating in a basically hiring frenzy over the last several years and now have cut back on what have become very bloated workforces, particularly in a lot of these tech names. But to see now a second round of layoffs in just 5 months maybe is a bit more concerning for that specific company, being Twilio. However, shares reacting still positively today, up 2%, so shrugging off what it could be seen as bad news. The CEO said, frankly, they've gotten too big and they have to spend less, saying that if you're wondering why they are making additional cuts at September, they are now seeking to streamline the company as it was structured. Today's news, on the other hand, they said, is really to organize a way for them to be more successful given the current market environment. They do expect to record changes between 100 and 135 million as a result of the layoffs, mostly in the first quarter of this year. The company also said they would permanently be closing a number of office locations, resulting in impairment losses of between 10 and 25 million. This comes after a recorded impairment charge of about 98 million in the third quarter after the May of 2022 announcements, when they did announce previously closing different office locations. So they have been downsizing now for really what has been the better part of the last year to accommodate for the fact that this was one of these pandemic winners. We've since seen shares just completely really retreat here with the overall tech slowdown. But an interesting story, interesting remarks from the CEO, and also they are separately forming now two different companies, those being Twilio Communications as well as Twilio Data Applications, because they said each two units are very different. They have different needs right now, different cycles they need to accommodate through. So a lot to work for here, and I think that the street is paying more attention to the fact that they are working to ease costs. But to me, the theme of all of these stories, Oliver, is efficiency. The CEO said efficiency. I counted in the press release 6 different times, and then we have that obviously on the back of the news that Meta is restructuring. Meta, they've said, is going to be the year of efficiency. So efficiency to me is the word of the day when it comes to these Meta and Twilio layoffs.
Yeah, Twilio in particular, overdue perhaps for some efficiency as we drop down to lows of $43. That was the lowest since 2018, which was a level they first reached in 2017. A stock that seemingly could do no wrong in the space. Now having a really major milestone here in dividing the company this way. So it definitely kind of speaks to the notion that things have permanently changed here for a lot of these companies, which maybe bulls will have to reckon with. But in the short term, stock market's okay with it, and Meta keeps finding buyers. So I guess people are convinced that they are onto something meaningful here. Appreciate it, Jenny. Thanks. Meta up 3%. Twilio a little bit less, a little bit more of a complicated story there, perhaps.